ब्रेकपछि यहाँलाई पुनः स्वागत छ। यहाँ हेर्दै हुनुहुन्छ गुड मर्निङ नेपाल, यो कान्तिपुर टेलिभिजन। र अघि नै हामीले चर्चा गरिसकेका छौँ कि आज हामीसँग एकजना विशेष अतिथि पनि हुनुहुन्छ भनेर। र नेपालको हकमा कुराकानी गर्ने हो भने यो बाल विवाह चाहिँ अझै पनि हुन्छ नि 3 मध्ये 1 को चाहिँ सानै उमेरमा विवाह हुने गरेको छ, विशेष गरी महिलाहरूको बालबालिकाहरूको। र यो स्थितिलाई सन् 2030 पछि चाहिँ शून्यमा झार्ने लक्ष्यका साथ एउटा अभियान सञ्चालन भएको छ। र त्यो अभियानलाई जस्ट राइट फर चिल्ड्रेन JRC को नाममा चिनिन्छ। र त्यसलाई स्थापना गर्नुभएको छ भुवन रिभुले। उहाँ आफैमा एउटा लेखक हुनुहुन्छ, अभियन्ता हुनुहुन्छ र अधिवक्ता पनि हुनुहुन्छ। र भुवन रिभु नेपालमा आउनुभएको छ। र त्यो उहाँ नेपालमा आउनुभएको कारणले गर्दाखेरि पनि आज हामी उहाँसँग कुराकानी गर्नेछौँ। र विशेष गरी हामी चाहिँ त्यो चाइल्ड म्यारिजलाई कसरी चाहिँ एलिमिनेट गर्न सकिन्छ नेपालमा सन् 2030 सम्ममा, यो चाहिँ सस्टेनेबल डेभलपमेन्ट गोलमा अन्तर्गत पनि पर्छ र नेपालको हकमा के छ भन्ने बारेमा हामी आज भुवन रिभुसँग कुराकानी गर्दैछौँ। भुवनजी, वेलकम टु कान्तिपुर।
Thank you for having me.
Just before starting with your purpose of your visit to Nepal, what inspired you to move on to the social activism sector?
As I was practicing law, I was involved in doing a research on the plight of missing children, especially the girls who were going missing from the Hetauda Makwanpur regions in Nepal.
In 2002, maybe.
In 2002. And in 2002-03, as we did this research, we found that while a very large number of girls were disappearing, they were being kidnapped, they were being trafficked, under the garb of providing employment in Indian circuses, only a very small number was actually reaching circuses. So across India, in all the circuses, there were probably about 200-300 Nepalese girls, but in one village or one district only, there were thousands of girls who had gone missing, so-called, to work in the Indian circuses.
So that means they were trafficked?
They were all trafficked. And here were the parents who did not know the whereabouts of their children. Imagine the plight of a father or a mother who has sent their daughter to work for somebody. They think that the daughter is safe, and now when they want to get in touch with the daughter, they can't. And we had cases where daughters had disappeared 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 8 years ago. So that basically inspired me to work for the cause of children. And while rescuing some girls from an Indian circus in 2004, we were all attacked, beaten very badly. And thereafter, the story that came out became, like, the government came up with their own finding, saying that these girls did not exist. We approached the courts in Uttar Pradesh in India, and we asked for the safety and for the recovery of these girls. The government actually took a stand in the court that these Nepalese children did not have any fundamental rights in India, so nobody could file this writ petition of a habeas corpus for their recovery. Fortunately, after a month, all the 29 girls were rescued. They had horrific stories to tell. But I realized that people anywhere, neither in India nor in Nepal, people were not understanding what is trafficking, what is the organized crime nature of the exploitation of children. This is not an issue of poverty, it is an issue of crime. And people who understand the law, people who understand the nuances, they needed to act on this.
So that's that's the case of the trafficking. But nowadays you are working with the early child marriage, and you want to eliminate that within 2030 also. So Bhuvanji, how do you find the current situation of child marriage in Nepal?
So I would like to say it very clearly and upfront that child rape has various manifestations. Child rape exists within communities by the people who are known to the child. Children are raped in a commercial setting in the form of trafficking. Children are raped in the form of culture, in the form of tradition, in the form of this is how things are, in the form of child marriage. And children are increasingly being exploited and abused in the online space. The biggest rape of children happens where it is sanctioned by society in the form of child marriage. I work for the prevention of child rape and for the protection of our children from sexual abuse. And that cannot be achieved unless and until we actually solve this scourge, this crime of child marriage. In Nepal, 1 out of 3 girls, as you said, 35%.
That's the statistics of government. That might, you know,
it might be more.
Maybe more.
It might be more.
Yeah.
But the biggest gap that exists is that despite having some of the best laws for the protection of children, the laws are just not being implemented. No child marriages are being prevented by the police across the country in Nepal. There are no prosecutions of people who are actually aiding and abetting and participating in child marriages. For the crime of child marriage, there has been no convictions. So unless and until we enforce the law, unless and until we create the legal deterrent, we will not be able to create a just world, a just society, a just Nepal for our children. We have created the law which is nothing but a piece of paper unless and until it is enforced. Our children require that protection, and therefore that law needs to be implemented.
So, since 2002, how much change have you observed in the field of child protection and rights in Nepal? So, is there any
There has been a sea change. So, it's a generational shift. Imagine in 2002 where we were. Nepal was not a republic. Nepal did not have a constitution. Nepal did not have all these robust laws for child protection. And a country which is now democratic, a country which is being elected by the people, has to work, the government has to work for the people. The existence of this democratic setup, the constitution in Nepal, guarantees these rights for our children. It has been a sea change. The critical point is now, today, we have made all these laws. We have made this promise as a sustainable development goal that by 2030 we are going to eliminate child marriage. Today is the day, this is the time when we have to make good on that promise. We have to ensure that the laws do not remain in books. They are enforced, because that is the only way to create awareness. That is the only way to ensure that people are following the norm. They are afraid of raping our children. And the big difference is, majority of the people do not understand that child marriage is a crime, because as a crime it is not being enforced. People believe this is hota hai, this is just, it happens.
This is our tradition,
it is our tradition.
Following.
So, and it is the same. It is not only the case in Nepal. Nepal currently ranks at number 2 as, you know, the worst statistics of child marriage in South Asia. However, one child raped is one child too many. We cannot say that this is the number, that is the number. It's not about numbers. Child marriage is a global problem, and we, as Just Rights for Children, want to create a child marriage free world. To be able to do that, we have to work at in the countries where the problem is most acute. In countries,
so where do you see the problem in Nepal?
In Nepal, the problem,
in that context,
the problem is first and foremost in each one of us, in our minds. If I was to say the problem is in Madhes and the problem is in Lumbini, it is different. Problem exists everywhere. But the first and the biggest problem is in our minds, in our understanding that child marriage is a crime, in our understanding that for the child marriage to be completely eliminated, we have to enforce the law. In our understanding that when a child is not performing well in school, for example, or if the parents are poor, it is the duty, the responsibility of the state to protect the child. It is not a child's prerogative that, okay, now I have no options left, what do I do?
But in Nepal, you know, Bhuwanji, what we see is, if the child is not doing good at his or her studies, then they are forced to the marriage, you know. That's the situation. So with that situation, many people say that eliminating child marriage by 2030 is an uphill task. So how do you, what do you have to say?
I completely agree that it is an uphill task. But this is the land of Mount Everest. We do not conquer hills, we conquer mountains. Uphill is, you know, nothing. It is just a small step in the entire journey of conquering the mountain. But that is on a lighter note. On a serious note, we cannot make excuses for a crime to fester. Yeah. If a child is not performing well, if a boy or girl is not performing well, we do not let them become thieves. We do not let them take the path of crime, the wrong path. We as a society make sure that we provide them with alternate avenues. Child marriage is one such crime. What are we doing? We are telling our daughters, we have married you off, now you are somebody's responsibility, only take care of their family. That is the biggest culprit, because this child is no longer an active participant in the economic workforce. We are losing over 55 lakh girls to child marriage who can become contributory citizens to the economy of Nepal. The boys are going everywhere, doing all sorts of things, bringing so much of money back into Nepal. The valor, the resilience, the bravery of Nepalese men is globally renowned. You know, as I was saying earlier, it is the Nepalese men who conquers this Mount Everest and all the other these high Himalayan peaks. So, finishing it, completing it, climbing this uphill task is a very easy task for a Nepali person.
As far as I know, that's why you are here in Nepal, and today I think you are meeting our Honorable Prime Minister also, yeah?
Yes, we are. The thing is that 2 years ago, the end of child marriage seemed an impossible task anywhere. The United Nations in one of its reports said that it will take 300 years to eliminate child marriage fully. In India, one of the UN agencies said that it will take till 2050 to reach the tipping point of child marriage, which is currently at 23% in India, and to reach that 10%. This requires a whole of society and a whole of government approach. If we make this resolve by ensuring robust policies, by making sure that we are investing in girls' education, their skill development, by making sure that we are creating the institutions that respond for the rehabilitation, for the prosecution, by working on the capacity, by working on the knowledge and the awareness, by taking an approach which is a whole of society and a whole of government accountability approach, we can end child marriage before 2030. It has to simply be strategic. Child marriage is a crime. It has to be tackled systematically and systemically. That is why we are meeting the Honorable Prime Minister, and we are also going to be launching the biggest campaign in Nepal ever on child protection, on the issue of child marriage today, with a resolve to make a child marriage free Nepal by 2030, wherein we are going to start with taking pledges across Nepal, across all municipalities, across all schools. Children are going to be made aware. But the government agencies, the police officers are also going to be made aware that when the NGOs are coming to you, when the children are coming to you, then you have to act. We will be working with the faith leaders. There is, in our societies, marriage is a social affair. But we have to understand that we cannot celebrate the impending rape of a child. And it is the responsibility of the priests, the pandits, the maulanas first to actually act on this. So if there was imagine a situation where a pandit first asks, give me the birth certificate. If a band person, if the ghodiwala, if the tent house person, if the halwai, if these people who are that ecosystem of marriage, if they start asking for the age verification, if the police were to say that we will act and put somebody in jail, if the panchayats were to take responsibility, if the municipalities were to take responsibility, the end is right next to us. In 2021, Assam had a huge problem of child marriage. In 2022-23, working with us, the Assam government started on a major crackdown on child marriage. They prosecuted people in like phases. Over 5,000 people were arrested. Between 21 and 23, we realized that there was an 81% reduction in child marriages in just 2 years.
So anything can be achievable.
Anything can be achieved.
Yeah.
It is the legal deterrent that is going to do it. You know, there is a saying in Hindi, "Bhai bin hoye na preet," which basically means that there is no love without fear. So we are using the love that exists within each one of us, but also the fear of the law. So it is an approach which starts with taking pledges. It goes on prevention, it goes for the protection, it goes on prosecution.
That's why,
but it is a collective partnership of all of us.
So most of the time you are mentioning the whole of society and whole of government approach. Can you please elaborate it in clear way to our viewers?
Absolutely. At the center of it is a child.
Yeah.
So the child needs to be made aware first of what are the rights. The girls need to know these are the options available to you. That is the first thing. Then the families need to be aware that they should not be thinking, if the child is not performing well, that okay, let's marry the daughter and send the son to work somewhere. These are an option, an alternative is their right. And if they don't do it, then it is a crime and the family can be prosecuted for it. Then think about the journey of a child. What happens in that journey? They are going to school, the teachers have to be responsible, the municipalities have to be responsible, the panchayats have to be responsible, the
religious leaders also.
And of course, then I was going to say that when a marriage is going to be fixed, the religious leaders have a huge responsibility. The responsibility of the state machinery is to act, but the responsibility of the society is to report. We had an incident recently in Patna where the people who had gone to attend a child marriage, actually somebody picked up the phone and called up the police and said that here is a 12-year-old marrying a 35-year-old man. That is the collective consciousness of society that needs to rise, that we take responsibility for our children. And that is the whole of society and whole of government approach. But I always say that the whole of society and the whole of government approach needs a whole of accountability. All of us have to be accountable for our children and be responsible for these actions. It is only through strategic actions that we undertake in these specific places, ensuring prevention, but at the same time ensuring prosecution, that is going to see the end of child marriage. I am confident that Nepal can do it, and I am also confident that confidence comes from the fact that today we are meeting the Honorable Prime Minister, but also the state governments of 7 provinces are coming together for the first time under the aegis of the Ministry of Women, Children and Senior Citizens. And this entire campaign is being led by Mr. Dilli Bahadur Chaudhary from Nepal, who has convened all these people to come together. So when there is that collective resolve at all levels of government, all it requires is for the people to understand that the government is behind them, the law is with them, it is the law which defines what is right and wrong, and this has been declared to be a wrong. It is a crime and it has to be ended now.
That's why you have always been highlighting the collaboration between the civil society and government.
Definitely. Civil society or government needs, both of them need to work together. They need to work in partnership. Government can reach certain places, civil society can reach some certain places, but at the end of the day, the solution at scale can only be achieved when the government takes it up. Civil society acts in one geography, in one village, in one district, but at the same time, the government works everywhere. The civil society will identify the micro level problem, the child, and the government will ensure that there is a macro level policy solution to provide that protection to the child. So it has to be a complete circle where a macro level policy is there for the micro level child, and a micro level problem is or the child is protected through that macro level policy.
So are there any differences between the cause of child marriage in Nepal and India or other countries?
Children are children, and laws are laws. So there is no difference in the causes, but in some countries there is a new trend that in the name of religion and our lack of understanding of various religions, we sometimes allow for crimes to fester. Recently, there is a proposal in Iraq that they are doing away with the minimum age of marriage, and girls will be able to marry after reaching the age of puberty. It is not an issue of giving consent to the girls. It is not an issue of giving agency to the girls. It is actually going to be used by men to subjugate, to enslave, to rape these young children. This law needs to be done away with. This is our lack of understanding of rights as well as laws, as well as religion. So in certain faiths, in certain countries, this is at a further distance than certain advanced countries like Nepal, where the laws are very clear. That is the only difference. Some countries have a good law, and some countries are on their way to making a good law. But at the end of the day, I am confident that everyone will get there. We will create a just world for children. We will create a child marriage free world, and we will see the end of child marriage within the next 5 years.
Yeah, that we need to do together. पक्कै पनि यो बाल विवाह मुक्त विश्व अपरिहार्य कुरा हो। यसमा विश्वको चाहिँ एकजुटपना या विश्वको चाहिँ एउटा भनौं न सहकार्य जरुरत छ। नेपालमा उहाँहरुको नेतृत्वमा सञ्चालित संस्था र अरु थुप्रै संस्था र सरकारी पहलबाट र नागरिक समाजबाट पनि थुप्रै प्रयत्नहरु भइरहेका छन् बाल विवाह अन्त्यको लागि। अरु केही महत्त्वपूर्ण कुराहरु गर्न बाँकी नै छ, त्यसअघि फेरि लिँदै छौं छोटो कमर्सियल ब्रेक।
ब्रेकपछि पुनः स्वागत छ। यहाँ हुनुहुन्छ गुड मर्निङ नेपालमा, कान्तिपुर टेलिभिजन हेर्दै हुनुहुन्छ तपाईँ र आज हामी कुराकानी गर्दैछौँ जस्ट राइट फर चिल्ड्रेन JRC का संस्थापक भुवन रिभुसँग। र उहाँ नेपालमा अहिले नेपालले सन् 2030 भित्र यो हुन्छ नि चाइल्ड म्यारेजलाई एलिमिनेट गर्ने अथवा यो बाल विवाह मुक्त समाज निर्माण गर्ने अभियान थालेको छ र त्यो अभियानका एकजना अभियन्ता भुवन रिभ्यूसँग हामी कुराकानी गर्दैछौँ। भुवनजी, वेलकम ब्याक वन्स अगेन। And talking about the SDG goals 5.3, so what do you believe are the critical milestones, that need to be achieved to the Sustainable Development Goal 5.3 in context of Nepal?
Specifically for Nepal, we are already at a very advanced stage because we have a very robust law. What is required now is the implementation. As I said earlier, we can use a strategy which I have promoted called the PICKET strategy. PICKET strategy means policies for prevention, protection and prosecution. Investments in education, making education free and compulsory till the 18 years. But again, we have it. All we need to do is enforce this. So implement the policies that we have, then build the capacity of the children, the communities, the institutions that are supposed to implement these strategies, the knowledge, the ecosystem and use technology. But when we are working on it systematically, we have to identify the areas, the geographical areas where the problem is most acute. In those areas, we have to work on the legal deterrent, but also on the prevention, on the pledges. Like we were mentioning earlier, Madhes. It says that there is a very rampant problem. The data indicates that over 45% girls in Madhes are getting married. And the real number may be much more. These are government statistics. Therefore, we need to focus first on these geographies. So it has to be an intensive area action approach in these geographies within the next 3 years. So we have to give ourselves targets to achieve the SDG 5.3 by 2030. Where are we going to be in the next 1 year? So in the next 1 year, supported by the Just Rights for Children, the NGOs in Nepal are going to start promoting large-scale pledge-taking programs. The first pledge is going to be undertaken by the Honorable Prime Minister today. Then the Honorable Minister is going to administer the pledge to everyone in the present today. And then every student will take a pledge, every faith leader will take a pledge. This is the beginning of the awareness. But at the same time, we are going to act and start the prosecutions. start the implementation of the laws that we have. So if we are able to create the legal deterrent within the next 1 year and at least create this ecosystem where the law is there for the protection of the child, then in the next 3 years there is no reason why we can't see a tipping point in the ending of child marriage. Currently it is at 33%. Our goal has to bring it to less than 15% in the next 3 years.
So now, many NGOs are also, willing to work with you. What advice would you give to the young activists and the NGOs that want to work with you in the eradication or the elimination of the child marriage by 2030?
I would say for each one of us, see, speak, act.
Yeah.
Silence is violence. When we are actually seeing a girl get married and not raising our voice against it, we are aiding and abetting a crime, and we are actually celebrating the impending rape of a child. Child marriage is nothing but child rape, and that cannot allow to happen. So all we need to do is speak up, act, and we need to have accountable government and police machinery that actually acts when somebody like you or somebody like me picks up the phone, calls up the police must act.
So we have government in 3 levels now.
Yes.
So are they aware about it enough, or government need to read or need to study something? Yeah.
The government just needs a resolve. I think they are well aware when they make a law. We are not talking about a problem where we are saying this is a problem that exists, the government needs to make a policy around it. The Constitution of Nepal guarantees the rights of freedom, the rights of education, the rights of equality, the rights against exploitation, the right of justice. The laws in Nepal, the penal code, the child marriage laws are very robust. So the government is well aware. It is the behavior change. It is the change in our understanding of the issue.
In our intention.
Our intention. The motive has to be that it is a crime. Behavior change through the force of love and the force of law needs to work simultaneously. And our understanding and our deeper consciousness needs to increase in that understanding that child marriage is not just a social evil or not just a thing of poverty, that somebody is poor and the girl is not performing well, let them get married. The girls who went missing 20 years ago are not going missing today, simply because we were able to enforce the law both in India as well as in Nepal. In India, we had a huge missing children's problem till about 2013 when the Supreme Court made a robust policy and said compulsory registration of FIR must be done. The number of children going missing fell down from 160,000 to less than 60,000. 100,000 children were saved. 81% reduction in the rate of child marriage in Assam today proves that deterrence is the key. The legal deterrence is the key, and that behavior change is what is needed for the citizens, for the activists, for the young children, and for all of us in Nepal.
So now we are at
almost come to the end of the program. So thank you very much for giving us time, valuable time, and also showing the kind gestures to our girls and of Nepal, and who has been forced to the child marriage, and you have shown them a path to follow and not to be married in a very early age. Thank you for your kind gesture, sir.
Thank you for having
me. And all the best for your upcoming work, journey or projects.
And thank you to both of you for giving me this opportunity, but taking up this issue. I would like to make this appeal to the media as well. You have to be responsible to report this. And well, congratulations to you. You have taken the lead, but others need to follow.
Yeah, we have to work together for you.
We have to work together. Thank you.
असाध्यै महत्त्वपूर्ण कुराकानी भयो पवन भाइ। यो पक्कै हामी सबैको प्रयास, सबैको प्रयत्नले नेपालबाट मात्रै होइन विश्वबाट नै बाल विवाह मुक्त त्यो समाज निर्माण गर्न सकिन्छ।
जस्ट राइट फर चिल्ड्रेन JRC ले जुन अभियान थालेको छ त्यसमा हामी चाहिँ सहायक सिद्ध हुन सक्छौं र भुवन रिभ्यूको बारेमा कुराकानी गर्ने हो भने उहाँले किताब पनि लेख्नु भएको छ। ल अभियन्ताको त अब कुरै गर्न नगरौँ भने हजारौं बालबालिकाहरूलाई उहाँले चाहिँ हुन्छ यो दासताबाट चाहिँ मुक्त गर्नुभएको छ र उहाँलाई सेफर लाइफ पनि प्रदान गर्नुभएको छ। त्यो अभियानमा हामी पनि उहाँको सहायक बन्न सकौँ। यही रिजोल्युसन चाहिँ हामी सायद सन् 2024 ला होला।
हो यो सन् 2024 को अन्तिम दिनमा हामीले यो रिजोल्युसन पक्कै सबैले लिनुपर्छ भन्दै गुड मर्निङ नेपालबाट हामी बिदा लिने अवस्थामा आइपुगेका छौँ। भोलि फेरि देश विदेशका यस्तै जानकारीमूलक रोचक र महत्त्वपूर्ण प्रसङ्गहरूको साथमा गुड मर्निङ नेपाल भन्दै हामी पक्कै आउनेछौँ। तबसम्मका लागि बिदा दिनुहोस्। तपाईँको आजको दिन असाध्यै सुखमय बितोस्। नयाँ वर्षको धेरै धेरै शुभकामना। ह्याप्पी न्यू इयर 2025 भन्दै बिदा माग्छौँ। नमस्ते।